Strangers somewhere. It started the way most things on the internet do, without expectation. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels quieter, like everything has softened at the edges. His room was dim, lit only by the glow of his laptop screen. He had opened Omegle out of boredom more than anything else, clicking through strangers with half-hearted curiosity. Highs, ASLs, disconnected, again, and again. It was all noise, fleeting faces, skipped conversations, nothing that lingered longer than a few seconds. Until, hide, no camera, just text. He almost skipped it, almost. But something about the simplicity of it, the lowercase, the small smile made him pause. Hey, he typed back. A few seconds passed. You don't skip fast, that's rare here. He smiled a little. I could say the same about you. Another pause. Failed. It should have ended there like the others, but it didn't. They kept talking. At first it was the usual things. Where are you from? What time is it there? What are you doing awake this late? But slowly, almost without noticing, the conversation deepened. The questions became more thoughtful, the answers more honest. She told him she couldn't sleep most nights, that she liked quiet conversations because they felt real in a way loud ones didn't. He told her he wasn't sure why he was there, only that it felt easier to talk to someone who didn't know him at all. I think people are more honest with strangers, she wrote. Because there's nothing to lose, he replied. Or because there's nothing to prove. He leaned back in his chair, reading that twice. Something about her felt different. Time passed strangely after that. Minutes stretched into hours, unnoticed. The usual restlessness he felt online disappeared. He wasn't checking the clock anymore. He wasn't thinking about skipping. He was just there with her. They started asking each other things that mattered. Favorite songs, childhood memories, the kind of life they imagined but never quite said out loud to anyone else. At one point he asked, "What's something you've never told anyone?" The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "I'm scared I'll never meet someone who feels like home." He didn't answer right away. Not because he didn't know what to say, but because he wanted to say it right. Maybe home isn't a place or a person, he typed slowly. Maybe it's just a feeling you recognize when it happens. There was a long pause. Longer than before. Then, "That's a nice thought." And then, after a second, "You feel easy to talk to." His heart did something unexpected at that. "You do too." Another pause. Then, "Do you ever wish this was anonymous?" He stared at the screen. "Yes." The answer came immediately in his mind, too quickly almost, but saying it out loud felt like crossing a line. Still, "Yeah," he typed. The typing bubble flickered again. "Me too." Silence settled between them, but it wasn't empty, it was full, charged with something neither of them had named yet. Then she wrote, "What if we didn't skip?" He smiled. "I'm not going anywhere." Another pause. Then carefully, "Can we talk somewhere else?" It felt like stepping out of a dream. Like taking something fragile and real and risking it in the daylight. But he didn't hesitate. "Yeah, I'd like that." They exchanged details slowly, almost cautiously, like neither wanted to rush something that had grown so naturally. And just like that, they weren't strangers anymore. Days turned into weeks. Messages became calls. Calls became routines. She had a soft laugh that came unexpectedly, like it surprised even her. He learned to wait for it, to say things just to hear it again. He told her about his mornings. She told him about her nights. They lived in different places, different time zones, but somehow they kept finding each other in the middle. "Are you awake?" "I am now." They never ran out of things to say. And yet sometimes they said nothing at all, just stayed on the line, listening to each other breathe, sharing a kind of quiet that felt more intimate than words. One night, after a long pause, she said softly, "Do you ever think about how weird this is?" He smiled into the phone all the time. "And you're not scared?" He thought about it. A little, he admitted, but not in a bad way. "How then?" He hesitated, then said it anyway. "Like something important is happening." There was silence. Then, very quietly, "I feel that too." The idea of meeting came slowly. Not all at once, not as a sudden plan. Just a thought that kept returning, growing stronger each time. "What if we met?" she asked one evening, her voice careful. He didn't answer immediately. Because suddenly it was real. Not just voices, not just messages. Her standing in front of him. Looking at him. Saying him. "I'd want to," he said finally. "I just don't want to ruin this." "You think we could?" "I don't know," he admitted, "but I don't want to lose you." Her voice softened. "You won't?" A pause. "Unless we never try." The day came faster than expected. The place was simple, a quiet cafe, neutral ground. He arrived early, of course. Nerves wouldn't allow anything else. He sat by the window, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee he hadn't touched. Every time the door opened, his heart jumped. Not yet. Not yet. Then, the bell above the door chimed. He looked up, and there she was. For a second, everything slowed. Not because she was exactly how he imagined, but because she was. She was real. More real than anything he had built in his mind. She scanned the room, a little uncertain, then her eyes found his. Recognition. Immediate. Her face softened into a smile he had never seen before, but somehow it still felt familiar. He stood. Neither of them moved right away. Then, almost at the same time, they laughed softly. "Hi," she said. "Hi." It felt strange, hearing her voice without a speaker between them. Warmer, closer. Real. They stepped toward each other. There was a brief hesitation, hug or not, handshake, something else. Then she closed the distance and wrapped her arms around him. And just like that, all the distance, all the waiting, all the late-night conversations collapsed into a single, warm, grounding moment. He hugged her back just as tightly. "You're real," she murmured, half laughing into his shoulder. "So are you," he said. When they pulled back, they didn't step away completely. They stayed close, smiling, a little nervous, a lot certain. "Still feel easy?" he asked gently. She looked at him for a second, really looked, then nodded. Easier. Outside, the world moved on like it always did. Inside, two people who had once been strangers on a screen sat down across from each other, already knowing more than most people ever shared. And this time, there was no next. No skip. Just a beginning they had chosen together.